Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy
Bing.
Tuesday to ya.
Do you want to intro where this millennial scripts came from?
Yes. Okay, so I follow this woman on Instagram. I could probably go and find her page to give her credit. Let me do that real quick. Basically, I came across her video. She actually just was posting all about her time. She did like a 3-month work/student living over in Spain with her kids. I guess you can do that. Is it Portugal?
I think I thought that from the video. Why does it matter?
Okay.
Why am I like this? Keep going.
Hey, you know what? I appreciate the correction because if she ever sees this, she'll be like, it was Portugal. Anyway, okay, her name is Chanel Hogue. I believe that's how you say it. Anyway, so she like goes on about the millennial script and how we were all raised to like follow this almost unwritten script, but like it was kind of ingrained to us, I feel like, from our parents and just how we did all the things and took the right path and did all the right things and just like went for it and pushed ourselves. And I think she's specifically talking about millennial women, I would assume, since she's a woman. That's how I kind of felt about it.
Yeah.
And it's just like we did all this stuff and like, are we happy? Did it work? Are we fulfilled? Is it even enough? Like, that's the gist of what I gathered from her video. And it just made me think because I do believe like we're the last, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like we're the last generation whose parents told them like, you need to go to school, you need to go to college, you need to get a degree so you can get a job.
Mhm.
And then you'll probably, you got to get benefits and you got to get a 401k and you got to get a pension. I'm like, there's no such thing as a pension anymore. We've touched on like the women part of stuff, like in the workplace, but I just feel like millennials, we have all this, like the world has changed so much as we've grown up,
Mm.
but we weren't like in it to like think differently back then. So we've like kind of carved these career paths or like these lifestyle paths or there's just life in general into what we thought we wanted and what thought was right. But now it's like almost looking back, I feel like there could have been a lot of different ways to get there. And like, but I followed the script. But like, do I regret that? That's what I took of it. Does that make sense?
Yes, I liked it when you shared it, and then I made myself some notes. So I guess I can. Well, it's what you touched on, which is the first obvious immediate takeaway, at least for me, was the script of what you said. You go to high school and then you immediately go to college. Like you pick something, you go to college, you take out whatever loans you need to take out, you just like forego whatever you need to forego, and then that just helps you forever. Like it's
I
worth it.
understand. Yeah, you're good.
And the whole idea of, for me, a lot of the language around college too is that you're paying for the experience and you live on campus and these are the best 4 years of your life and yada yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think that one is all pretty. I think a lot of us have heard that. Again, that worked for boomers and Xers. So I understand why those two generations, being the parents of millennials for the most part, why they thought that. The other one that this kind of made me think of, though, was the idea that if you take a gap year after high school, you'll never go back. And I heard that one so much. And that one, to me, is probably the bigger bummer of everything because maybe it was true in the past if people took a gap year that they got married and then started having kids and then kind of were in a pipeline where they didn't feel like they could go back right away. But I've met so many people where this is categorically false. And at least in my world, my universe, there was a lot of negative messaging about going to school later or going back to school. There was a lot of pressure, whether real or imagined or self-imposed or whatever, to find the career that you wanted, which that's such a big decision for a 16-year-old. Because you're essentially like, if you're following the script the way that you're supposed to have figured it out at like 16, because then you start gearing what you're doing your senior year of high school when you're 17 and 18 and choosing the school and all of those things. So you're sort of like down the pipeline.
Yeah. And I remember taking those like, what's your best job or what's your career? You know, those stupid quizzes. And it's like the answer I don't like. I don't like the answer. So how does that make sense to me? I don't know. It's just dumb. They can't do that anymore. There's too many jobs.
I think there were a lot of jobs back then. It's just
I know.
no one talked. And I understand like guidance counselors were trying to give helpful tools, but it would have been nice to be like, you enjoy these areas or these kinds of jobs instead of, I swear everything in the quiz that either ended up being a teacher, a business person, engineer. Was there
Yeah,
anything else?
probably one other thing, but I can't remember. It was so
A
stupid. Like a
farmer. Yeah.
nurse or a farmer. Yeah.
You'll be a doctor.
Yeah.
I
I just
the
go
gap
ahead.
year pissed me off. That I
Mm-hmm.
think I have the biggest beef with that because it everybody made you feel like you had to get straight into college and then it's like it doesn't matter if you don't know what you want to do, just start taking classes. And they're so expensive, which is dumb because I fiddle farted around taking like pottery classes because I think my brain was still in high school where you took electives that you wanted to
Yeah.
because they were fun. Meanwhile, I had student loans, so it feels like fake money. And looking back, I would never have paid that much goddamn money for a fucking art class. I could have just done
Yeah.
that at a community center. It just,
Yeah.
shit like that just pisses me off. And I
Well, what
think
I
I
was
was
just,
fairly responsible, but still.
I feel like you were. And because you just go into it blind and it's almost like you don't understand what you're signing up for and like the consent of all these loans,
You
which is kind of
don't.
crazy. Even if you got explained it a little bit, like it doesn't really stick until you're out, which brings me, I was like, well, maybe at the very least, like you could do your year off like after college. But I'm like, no, you can't because once you graduate, don't you have like 3 months or 6 months or something to like I don't know if it's to get a job so that you can pay the loans off, but basically your loans start to be due shortly after you graduate. So it's not like you can
Mm-hmm.
graduate college and then go take a year off to figure out what kind of job you actually want. But then you kind of get forced into a bubble or a box within college because they're like, well, you have to pick out your degree, like you have to take certain classes. And I know for me, I still never knew. Like I guess I was like, well, business because process of elimination, because I'm like anything else. And then it just like kind of went there. And then I was like, I guess I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm doing marketing because I don't like any of the other business degrees. It was very weird. Like it was like I did that because it was the only thing that made sense, but it wasn't like I'm gonna go to college for business marketing
Yeah.
because I want to do XYZ with my life. It was
Do
none of
you
that.
also feel like marketing and communications were sort of the
Oh yeah, like
millennial
catch all.
go-tos?
Communication. So many people went for communication, like which is ironic because no one knows how to communicate now. Maybe we're the last generation that kind of can do it.
Well, it's annoying
But
too because I'm like, what's a communicator? I mean, if you don't like graduate with like a degree that's a
in
job,
finance or yeah,
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 what do
or
you
nursing.
how I have so much empathy. Like my degree is a job title. It's a thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
I knew exactly what I needed to do and what I needed to apply for. I would have been so lost in the sauce had I just have gone to school for business and then been like, how do I search business person on Indeed?
Oh, it was awful because when I did end up going to marketing, I was like, I will like go on a team and sit in a boardroom and like talk through like making commercials or making like actual marketing
Yeah.
material. But when you search marketing jobs, it's like all these cold call sales jobs or like all this stupid sales stuff. And I'm like, well, this is not what I signed up for. So like panic attack. Anyway, long story short, I just feel like same with communications, like you don't even know what you want and you're only doing it so that you can put I have a bachelor's degree on your resume, which is what I feel like has changed so much
Mhm.
because you either don't need the experience or you could get the experience from like what are they called? Like trade work or just like life experience. Like you
Mhm.
don't I wonder if what my parents would say when they hear this, but I don't know if I'll ever like really I'm not gonna let my kids like F around after high school. But if they want to like self-explore or do this or that or just like start working or because like to our other point, we had an episode a little bit ago where I was like, I wish I would have done a few more jobs and like kind of figured out what I actually, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To see what else is out there. I don't think I'll push if they want to go to college, great. But because I learned a lot about myself within that time, but also I don't think it's a necessity like we grew up with it as.
Yeah. Or at least not college over everything. And
Correct.
again, I'm thankful like my degrees are a thing. It's a direction. I mean, I've talked about having some ennui about my career path choices, but it's a thing and it's something
Hmm.
that you do. And the human connection piece, I feel, is fairly AI proof in a lot of ways. I think there's value to it. I learned a lot. I think education is extremely valuable, but
100%.
college has turned into such a marketing thing. I listened to something that was really interesting. The guy was saying, you as an 18-year-old would never be given a loan for an auto loan or a
Yep.
home loan
Mm-hmm.
for $100,000. And we're out here just cutting checks to
Yeah.
kids essentially for these crazy amounts of money that are essentially protected from bankruptcy, aside from certain
Yeah.
extenuating circumstances.
That's
So
crazy.
I think that that's definitely a script that a lot of us have realized was not ideal. And I have
Mm-hmm.
another friend that I went to college with. I was really, so when the scales sort of fell off my eyes with this, I was really fortunate because I went through my bachelor's, and then for my master's degree, a lot of my classes were afternoons and evenings. So I worked a lot in the mornings, and then I was in night classes with a lot of people who were also working full time.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of them, it was second career. And I think also because I'm in a military area, you have a lot of folks who went right from high school into the military, did time and retired. Because if you go in at 18, you do 20, you're out at 38. So, between 38 and 45, there were a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people who had retired from a career in the military and were going back to school. And I saw how much there was nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
And people had those individuals in my classes, I was so thankful for. They had more experience. They contributed more to conversation, especially in a field like social work or like mental health and things like that, where having life experience can make a difference in how you
Right.
engage with clients. So that was really neat. I learned a lot from them. I'm such a fan of having mixed age ranges and experiences in a college room if you're going, which I
Yes.
wouldn't have had I lived on campus and done the traditional track. I also had a friend who was Mormon, so she did everything opposite, which, my parents would have said was, how to ruin your life, where she got married to her husband young. He was in the military. They did their thing. They had several kids. And then once her kids were at more of a self-sustaining age, I think her youngest was maybe like 10 or 11, she started going back to school.
Nice.
And I remember looking at her and being like, damn, we're not that far off in age, and not that anyone's perfect, but I just kind of saw that it's not the end of the world for women to delay school and start a family if they're with somebody first. Like, you don't have to delay having kids, and then having kids doesn't ruin your life. And I sort of feel like family and being quote unquote tied down and having kids will prevent you from doing anything was another script that we grew up with that I still feel quite resentful about.
100%. And we talked about it in our feminine episode, but I do agree that there was a lot of you need to be capable of being an independent woman,
Mm-hmm.
aka you need to go get a career. You can't depend on a man financially. You need to go straight to college or get a degree. I also go back to your point, even if first of all, if you're going to be a doctor, okay, please go get a degree because I need you to know what you're doing before you cut me open or whatever. But also, if you do go to college, maybe like doing it non-traditionally,
Mm-hmm.
go to the school, live on campus 4 years in and out. You could do night classes, you could work and do other things. And it may take a little bit longer, but then you are getting, I feel a little more experience and different experience. But at the end of the day, I think especially for women, and it goes hand in hand with what you just said, it's you have this education, college, career path degree that was formulated and it was the only thing that people thought worked when we were growing up. And then you have this feminine movement where it's you have to get a job because you can't rely on things. And so you should hold off having kids so you don't sacrifice that because it's going to ruin your life if you don't follow along.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that combination. It's what if you did want to start a family young, like your Mormon friend? Or what if you just wanted to do other things? There's just so many questions that I'm if I was who I am now, which wouldn't be the case if I didn't go through everything I went. So it's
Mm-hmm.
a weird, how do you even know? But if I was the person I was today, if I went back to graduate high school, I don't think I would do hardly anything the same.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thankful I got married when I did and met Jason when I did, and I was in a better place in my life. Like, me at 25 was still a little
Oh, yeah.
gnarly, but me at 21 was a different animal altogether. So I'm happy on some, whatever, it worked out for me. I'm not saying it doesn't work out for some people,
Right.
but it was just that I remember distinctly meeting her and being like, this doesn't seem as shitty as everybody made it sound to me.
Yes.
And it was very eye-opening, which again, I learned that from going to college, but also you can learn these things from being out in the world and talking to folks. Anyhow, another script I just want to touch on because it's another one I have a big beef about is travel before you settle down.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't take a gap year, but I didn't like do some of that stuff, but I did live in Colombia for 6 months in the middle of going to college. Like I started at a junior college, did a few years of that, was annoyed. Maybe it was only a year. And anyway, went and lived and studied at a college in South America for 6 months. One of the like best things that I ever did, extremely formative, like 6 months of my life. I recommend it to anybody. I do think there is value in traveling alone and doing some of those things to build confidence. And also, I really felt like there was just such a negative script. Maybe this was partly like my family culture, but of just once you're married and you have kids and you have a family and you have a partner, apparently your life is over and you don't do anything anymore.
Yes. There was a lot of, which is ironic because I feel like as a family, we traveled quite a bit. Like, traveled in a travel trailer, which is different than what I call traveling. But it was like great memories. Anyway, long story short, I do agree. That was the same sentiment. It was like, well, you have to work to save to build retirement, and then when you retire, then you travel.
Yeah,
And I'm
that
like, well,
too.
that doesn't sound good.
I
Because like, what if I don't make it?
I know. And I had this so hard in my head that Jason and I started dating and I was like, I better quick get in another solo trip before we get serious. So I went to Costa Rica for 10 days. I was literally there for 24 hours and I was like, this is fucking dumb because I realized that when you're with somebody that you want to be with and you enjoy being around, I spent the whole time being like, this would have been fun to share with him. It's not that I didn't have fun. I did. And it was a good
Yeah.
experience and it was a neat thing to do. And I'm glad I did it. I don't regret any of that. But that was another major aha moment for me that this messaging came from a generation that clearly just wasn't happy with their marriage or things got tight. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or whatever their script was that they passed down, because I feel like our generation is doing such a good job of making memories with family and traveling and going out and doing things, even just going out to eat. Places feel more family friendly. There's a lot of outdoor seating. I see kids out everywhere we go. And I have traveled a billion times more with Jason after we got together. And it was way more fun.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a stupid thing.
Who's to say if you're in a healthy relationship, you can't go do a solo trip if you wanted to, or like do a girls trip, you know? So I just feel like, let me go back and caveat myself. I love everything and where life has led me. I don't want to change my current circumstances, but now that I have kids, I am going to be very cautiously aware and not try to get stuck in my ways and just be like, there is no script. Life is weird and you have to figure it out. And I'll be there to support you, but like that doesn't look the same for everyone. Like I don't want you to not do anything, but I don't think it looks the same for everyone.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
My last script that I just need to say is the whole say no to drugs speech. Because I just like really have I just have such a beef. And I know that 1,000 comedians have touched on this and a million people have already talked about it, but it literally just settled into my bones the other day. I was like, the government literally just was like, we don't like these particular plants. I mean, the synthesized things that are like made and highly addictive and all of those things, but specifically the plants and the mushrooms and the leaves. And I was like, this thing grows out of the ground and the government was like, we don't like that. And then I was like, well, are you going to arrest the dirt for growing it? It grew there. What are you all so mad about? But if it grows randomly by itself in a field of cow shit, that's fine. But the second that cow patty is in my backyard, now I'm the problem?
Well, I don't know if that's a script as much as a conspiracy theory.
But I feel like there was just very much a script of like, you're gonna, 100%. If you smoke a joint when you're gonna go crazy. And there's a million additional caveats to this of like, at what age and at what point and how often and how much and are there consequences and things you should know, of course. But I had such a blanket belief of this stuff all being like scary and dangerous and awful. And now I'm like, it sounds ridiculous to make a plant illegal.
As
well,
I also feel like it
to be for the plants to be more illegal than the other things that if you like a Xanax, that if you're addicted to Xanax and you don't take one, you could seize and die.
Yeah. I feel like it backfired though, because I feel like once everyone got over the programming, it was like, Well, now I really want to try it. I don't know, maybe not. You know when you like have such strict parents and then you're like you
Mm-hmm.
either get raised like two brothers and one's like very like, okay, follow the rules, and the other one's like, oh no, you suffocated me, so now I'm gonna go crazy. And then they do too much.
There's a balance with everything, but I was like, man, it's really weird that the government was like, take these ADHD meds and take this Accutane, especially for our generation.
And
And
birth
then,
control.
yes, and then all these other things that naturally occur that still require responsible use and
Yeah.
appropriate timing were so vilified. And then that just leads to the other script of like the government knows best and they're looking out for you and all of that. And I think our generation has really just thrown that maybe too much in the garbage, but maybe not.
Crazy.
All right, well, this was fun. I
This
love you,
was
my
fun.
friend. If a boomer can tell me what their script was, I'd love to know what the greatest generation taught them.
Curious.
Love you,
Bye.
bye.